What's up, everybody? Rob Ferretti, and here we have my Range Rover. Now, why am I showing you a Range Rover? I've showed it to you when I bought it. Well, I'm in a really weird position right now with that vehicle because this vehicle I've now had for 2 years, and I have to figure out what to do with it. And it seems pretty cut and dry. Forever, I've just bought cars, kept it for 2 years, sold it, right? Car's got, I don't know, low 20,000 miles on it, maybe mid 20,000 miles on it. It's about when I turn over cars, every 25,000 miles. Bought this in 2018, it's now 2020. I went to go get another one, and there seems to be a Range Rover shortage. Like, who knew? I've got a Range Rover shortage, which means this one is a little bit more valuable than I'm used to it being, but it also means I can't go out and get it in 2020. Now, I was like, all right, well, this is weird. Let me try. And I went to Auto Tempest. This is not a sponsored video, but I went to Auto Tempest and I searched within 350 miles of New York City, right? Northeast, tons of Range Rover dealerships, tons of Land Rover dealerships all over. And within 350 miles of New York City, it's all the way up to Boston, DC, all the way out into Pennsylvania, Philadelphia. It's got all of these cities covered. And there was one 2020 Range Rover with under 5,000 miles on it. That's zero new ones, one with under 5,000 miles on it. And that was a long wheelbase, which I wouldn't even get because it's more of a limo than a car. So now I got to figure out what to do with this. And you don't believe me, I'll put a link right below in the description. Again, not sponsored, just a link to what I searched for. Now, you can start saying like, well, go look in Wisconsin or something. I don't want to ship Range Rovers from all over the country. I'm so used to just walking up to my local dealership, scooping up a Range Rover, and we're good to go. And that's the way it should be. Range Rovers, Porsches, Corvettes, these are all, I mean, except for the 2020, of course, but these are all cars that are sort of just generic. They're staple cars in the business that I've got, and I'll usually get several of them. And the fact that I want to turn this one over now, I've got to question whether or not it makes more sense to just hold on to it. And the wholesale on this car now is, I forget what I paid for it, probably like $118 or so. And I see generally about $20,000 a year in depreciation. So this thing should be worth $40,000 less than that after 2 years. You're looking at, okay, yep. So that brings us down to about $80,000, maybe a little less, like $75,000. It's actually worth about $85,000 wholesale. So not the depreciation that I was expecting. And when you start looking up 2018 Range Rovers, I'm not putting a link for that in the description. You can Auto Tempest that yourself. When you start looking at all these different options, they're selling in like the low to mid 90s. And some of them selling with more mileage for low to mid 90s. So for the wholesale to be that high on a car that you usually like straight out of the gate, if I tried to sell this thing, if I paid $118 for it and I tried to sell it literally like a week later, I probably would have gotten $106. So for it to sort of hold its value that well is astonishing. Now, I mean, I can show you the car. It's a good car. Like, it's got all these nifty little features. And it is really nice. Like, and I don't see the same, and maybe I just haven't been looking. I don't know if it's got the same, look at this. I don't know if it's got the same stuff that don't need another audio strike. I didn't have an audio strike, but Amelia in the teaser for, what is it, the Sorted series, but the teaser where it's like, oh, shit, that flags an audio strike, obviously. Not an audio strike, but it limits the ad revenue on my videos, believe it or not. Who knew? But, I mean, you got the digital screens, you've got all this nicety. It is a nice SUV. I've said it in the past, I'll say it again. The Range Rovers, for me, are like the be-all, end-all of SUVs. Like, I think they handle well, I think they off-road well, I think they handle the highway well, they handle speed well, they're comfortable, they're pretty reliable. I don't miss having them because I don't miss like losing $20 or $25 or $30,000 a year to own one. But if I was looking to flip money like that, I think these are 10 times better than the G-Wagons. I've had the GLS 450 or 460, whatever my wife had. This is just a better vehicle. Now this even has the cooled where is it? How do I open this? This is a air conditioned, see, push this little button here that ACs your stuff. You got the HDMI, you got the micro, you get, I mean, it's just, they do it right. I'm not gonna lie. But now I have to make a decision as to what I do here. I don't mind buying, if I sell high, like if say my vehicle's worth more than I expect it to be, I don't mind even paying up. Like if I can get a 2020 for $3,000 over list, that's great. But because like all I care about is that delta about what it's going to be worth. But I can't go out and spend $10,000, $15,000 over MSRP if anyone's even selling it, because I'm going to lose that money straight away, especially when the supply catches the demand. And I think the big issue we have here with this vehicle is that the COVID shutdowns probably led to, and you don't think about that, right? You think about, you drive past the ports of Newark and you see 10,000 vehicles. And you're like, who the hell's buying all these things? And they've got this down to a science. There are not extra vehicles sitting around. And this whole like, oh yeah, just come end of the month blowout. When you start restricting that pipeline of vehicles, the demand for all these people with their new leased vehicle or their new purchase or whatever they're looking for dries up the inventory, and that jacks up prices and makes them more difficult to come by. So the supply chain is real. Like, you don't realize how many cars actually get sold every year. Now you start looking at statistics of all the Mercedes and Range Rovers and Corvettes, not even Corvettes, but like Chevys and Mitsubishis, all these cars that sell, it's a ton. There's a lot of vehicles out there on that planet. So that's why any one time somebody's going to buy a car and you're like, oh, I missed out on it. You didn't miss out on it, man. There's a trillion cars out there. People complaining that there's not going to be any stick shift cars left. Come on, there's like 60 million stick shift cars out there. If you can't find a stick shift car, just be happy that these kids nowadays don't even bother learning how to drive stick, so we'll have plenty to choose from, and they're not going to try to fight us over price. But I think if I can find a Range Rover, and the play may be to bring one in from out of town. I've never had to ship one. It adds an extra, let's just say $1,500 expense if there are more on the West Coast, but I just do regional searches. Why would I do anything outside of a regional search for something that should be, like you used to go to, or you're supposed to go to a Range Rover dealership and just have a matrix line of Range Rovers there. And to not is actually pretty weird. So we'll see what happens. If you guys have any leads, it's got to be black, so don't send me blue or white. If you have any 2020 Range Rovers, or, I mean, this thing I'm probably still going to wholesale out, or maybe I'll retail, who knows. This is like the one time that it makes sense to retail a car. Same thing with like the C8, if I was going to sell the C8, since they're still selling over MSRP, which is amazing, it's just one of those things that I would probably retail this. So if you're looking for a 2018 Range Rover and you know of a 2020 I can buy, gotta be black, black on black, happy to buy another one. Just trying to facilitate this without searching and scouring the entire world. But if you got a 2020 lying around and I could buy it for MSRP, that's a big thumbs up from this guy. And if you want a 2018 with like, I don't know, 23, 24, 25,000 miles, whatever's on it, then you let me know and I'll be happy to let it go as long as I can replace it. I may even, since the market's hot, and if there is some sort of unkink in the supply line, I may just let this go and go without a Range Rover for 2 or 3 months, because I am a seasonal business, so I can scoop up another one come spring as long as I can get an order in. But until then, you're going to find out. So send me links, or you can email me, rob@superspeeders.com. Let me know what you come up with. If you want a Range Rover, again, send me an email, rob@superspeeders.com. It's going to be like, I don't know, I'd probably still sell a wholesale to you guys, 85 grand or so. And you can score one of these hard to get black vehicles. So you want to see what happens? Tune in next time. Tomorrow is sorted, but tune in another time. And I think we've got sorted. I think we're going to do like Tuesday, Fridays now, right up until Christmas. So thank you very much for watching. I will see you tomorrow, sorted. Well, I'm not going to see you physically. You're just going to see me doing my thing on Sorted in California. And there's going to be the introduction to some cool cars. Check it out. We'll see you then. So you guys are familiar with my other company, Adventure Drives, right? Well, we're going to be going to Scotland in October We're going to be doing Scotch distilleries, playing golf at St. Andrews if you want to do that, walking around, seeing lakes, waterfalls, driving the North Coast. It's going to be an amazing trip. Prices start as low as $2,500 per person for the shorter trip in Scotland. If you're interested in going, check out the link in the description.